There are certain things that we look for. I mean, is he comfortable, one, with a relationship with God? Is he a prayerful person? Does he like to serve Mass? Does he like people? Is he willing to do things for people? Is he willing to reach out and help those who are in need? Is he someone that people like? Is he a person who is comfortable around many different types of people? Is he open? Is he friendly? Is he courteous? Is he clean? Is he someone who is eager to do what God wants? Is he open to God's divine will? It's a well-rounded package. It's just not one particular type of individual, but it's someone who, almost like what St. Paul would say, can be all things for all people. But of course that comes much later on. But is it there? I mean, is there something there that makes him attractive? Is there something there that people will find attractive? Can he use his personality? Can he use the gifts that God has given to him to make a difference in people's lives as a priest? The advice that I can give to a young man is basically what I had to fall back upon. I mean, I finally had to convince myself that I was going to have to do what God wanted me to do. I couldn't necessarily do what I wanted to do. I had to be open to God's will. So the thing that I advise a young man to do is to pray that they will be able to see what God wants them to do, and then to pray once again to accept it. That's huge. It's one thing to see what God wants, but you know, a guy can say no. What really makes a difference is if they're willing to accept it and to embrace it, and then to have the courage, by God's grace, to live. So, you know, it's one thing to know it, and it's another thing to do it. And we have to be open to what God wants if we're really going to be happy. The best way that I can help a young man to make a decision to be a priest is to be a good priest myself. To be someone who lives my vows, to always be faithful to my vows, to be someone who is a person of prayer, to be someone who celebrates the liturgy well, to try to always give a good example, to be mindful of who I am and how I live out my priestly identity, but more importantly, you know, how I live out my role as a Christian, as a Catholic in today's society. Another way that I can help a young man is, of course, just to actively encourage them to be open to what God wants, and also to walk with them on the journey, to be there for them, to show interest, but to pray for them and to encourage them to be open to God's divine will. It's more of a ministry of being, of participating with, of journeying with the young man. It's giving a good example, but it's also encouraging the young man to be open to God's will. What inspires me the most about these young men who are coming to us today as future priests for this diocese is their goodness, is their holiness. I mean, how willing they really are to be open to what God wants. I mean, they are so much further ahead in this process than I was. I mean, they're praying the Liturgy of the Hours, they're going to daily Mass, they have a devotion to the Blessed Mother, they have a Eucharistic devotion that is just inspiring. I mean, so working with them, what inspires me is how they live their lives, but it also honestly challenges me to live my life a little bit better, to follow their good example. We have good quality men who are really discerning, honestly what God wants of them, and because of that, I think not only am I blessed as an individual, but I think the Church in this diocese is truly blessed.